Checking fork clearance. Safety precaution. If monorail is within 15 feet of the furnace, before inserting fork rod into the guide roller casing, power to monorail above furnace being rebuilt must be turned off. This is to prevent the possibility of serious or fatal electric shock in the event that the metal rod contacts the monorail. Step 19. Remove fork rods from the storage cylinders and inspect for any bends or burrs. Note, forks must be cleaned before each use to prolong their lifespan. Step 20. Release toggle clamps and open the guide roller casing. Step 21. Inspect the rollers to ensure they are functioning properly. Step 22. Insert the long rods with the fork attached between rollers and lower to the furnace bottom. The right rod will always have a red band at the top. Use caution when lowering the forks into the furnace bottom. Contact to insulation fabric will cause tears. Step 23. Close guide roller cases and toggle clamps. Do not force guide roller. Cases must close with no restrictions or damage will occur. The standard size RIS has fork adjustment. The Minimatic does not have fork adjustment. Step 24. Adjust guide roller cases until forks are evenly spaced between the furnace form and furnace sidewall. If adjustment is needed to move forks in or out, loosen ratchet mounted directly under the wheel. Turn the wheel clockwise to move out, or counterclockwise to move the forks in. Tighten ratchet. Step 25. Manually lower rod fork to rest forks on bottom material. A standard size RIS has a fork tilt mechanism that is used when the former is fully tapered from top to bottom. This allows the fork and rod to be centered in the material and follow the tapered angle to the top of the former. Minimatics do not have the fork tilting feature. To tilt forks, unlock the black ratchet located behind the fork case. Turn the chrome adjustment ratchet counterclockwise to tilt the forks inwards towards the former, or clockwise to tilt them towards the furnace wall. Lift and lower the forks and rod manually to check that the forks are centered from the top of the form to the bottom. You are now ready to test the fork clearance. To start the machine, press Ctrl on button to reactivate electrical panel. Remember where both of the emergency stop buttons are. Press extractor start button, press the feeder start button, and press rotation start button. When starting the RIS, we routinely press all three green buttons from left to right to reinforce the order of operation. We routinely press all three red from right to left to stop the RIS. The RIS will begin rotation around the form. Observe fork rod clearance between the form and insulating material. If fork rod comes in contact with insulating material or the form, stop the machine by pressing rotation stop button or the emergency stop button. Either button will stop machine rotation. Make necessary adjustments to fork rod position by turning the hand wheel on the opposite side in or out, and or adjusting the angle. Note, Minimatic does not have adjustment for the forks. Step 26. After one complete rotation, press rotation stop on the machine, but keep the extractor motor running. With the extractor motor running, Verify that the forks are lifting in OEM specification. OEM specification is 30 strokes per 15 seconds for each fork. Note: if fork speed is not within OEM specification, turn main power off, disconnect plant power, and open control panel. Turn extractor control counterclockwise to reduce the speed and clockwise to increase the speed. Once speed is set, count forking per 15 seconds until it is in OEM specification. Caution: adjustment is very sensitive. Do not change more than plus or minus 5 increments on the scale. Note: fork rod is made of aluminum and must be handled carefully. Rough handling and abuse will create nicks and burrs on the rod. Nicks or burrs will cause severe damage to the rubber wheels inside the guide roller cases. Examine and clean rods before each use. You are now ready to line the sidewalls of the furnace.